All right, what is going on, everybody? This is my first video since being back. Still recovering, still a little stuffed up, not feeling 100%, but I'm feeling and looking a hell of a lot better than I did for the past week and a half. For those of you that don't know, me, my wife, my daughter, we all contracted COVID. My mother-in-law had contracted it. She came into the house. She didn't know she had it. We all got it. It was a big, giant mess. There's 7 people that live in the house, so it's been a task to try and keep everybody separate from each other and recover from this and be taking care of everybody while still trying to get work done. And it's been rough. Before I get into the charts, I actually want to go over some stuff that I think is really important fundamentally. There's basically a new age currency war going on right now. Some of you know this, some of you don't. This actually plays a pretty large role in what's going on with Bitcoin, right? So you've got the US and you've got China, right? And the Chinese obviously want to be the new global reserve currency. Well, obviously that's not going to happen as long as the United States is the global reserve currency. So basically China is definitely betting against the dollar, just like they have been for the last 50, 60 years or more. And what are they doing? Well, they are trying to take over Internet 2.0. Well, Internet 2.0 is heavily centered around digital currencies like Bitcoin. They have been hoarding as much Bitcoin as they possibly can, building up their mining facilities, broadening their infrastructure and stuff like that. What's happening now is that the price of Bitcoin is going up so high and they're mining such a major amount of it that they've pretty much, for the most part, breaking even. Like a lot of these mining facilities, they're bought and paid for already. So what are they doing? Well, that makes them not have to cash out their Bitcoin that they're mining and dump it on the market, i.e. price doesn't go down as much because you don't have as many huge mining operations dumping their Bitcoin onto the market. So they're hoarding it. Well, what does that do to supply and demand? Well, there's way less supply, which means that the demand goes up. I think that plays a large part of what's been going on with Bitcoin, and we're going to dive into the charts here in just a second, but I wanted to let you guys know that I think that this is something that's very unresearched. This is something that not very many people are looking at because most people that are trading crypto don't also trade stocks. They're not used to looking at fundamentals, and fundamentals are playing more and more of a major role in Bitcoin. The reason why is because there's more liquidity in it, right? You've got more institutions that are scrambling to buy as much Bitcoin as they can. You've got brokerages in the United States like TD Ameritrade, Scottrade. They're all listing futures and stuff for it. It's listed on the CME, which is why it's on these brokerages. And you've got more of these brokerages listing it. You've got more institutional players buying into it. You've got big names in the financial field that are talking about it on live television and mainstream media that are announcing and, putting out there that, hey, guess what? They own Bitcoin or they're planning on purchasing X amount of Bitcoin. This is a really big deal. There's way more liquidity in Bitcoin and in cryptocurrencies in general than there was 4 or 5 years ago, back in 2017, 2015. There's way more liquidity in it. And let me just put this in perspective, right? We heard this whole PayPal news with, oh my God, the masses can now own and purchase Bitcoin or technically have like custody of their Bitcoin. Obviously, you don't own your private keys. Most newer people and beginners, they don't really care about that. They just want to get some exposure to it, which is fine. In 2017, PayPal offering Bitcoin on its platform would have been unthinkable. It would have never happened. It would have been impossible. We thought that it was impossible in 2017. Big institutions like PayPal and banks and stuff like that, they'll never offer Bitcoin or Bitcoin futures or anything. Look at what has happened in the last 3 or 4 years. It is absolutely wild what is going on. You've got huge investment firms like Grayscale that are onboarding hundreds of millions of dollars by the year of people that are willing to invest sizable amounts into Bitcoin and gain exposure to that and start expanding their portfolios. This is a really big deal. And as this keeps going on, there's less and less Bitcoin. One, because it's getting dumped less onto the market by big mining facilities, which I just explained. And 2, because of that, the supply is decreasing, obviously, because it's getting mined. The miners are holding on to it. and that makes the demand go up. More people want exposure to it. More investors want to add it to their portfolio. That's what's making the price skyrocket right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at the charts, and I'll just briefly describe where I think we are, where I think we're going, any targets for retracements and stuff like that. Thank you for listening to the rant on fundamentals. I want to start doing that a little more often just because it's playing more and more of a part, or at least more important than it used to be. So with that said, let's take a look at the charts. All right, so the weekly chart here, I mean, let's get serious, guys. It doesn't really need any explanation. Just pretty much this entire year has just been absolutely massive. We had that one huge retracement in the first 90 days of the year until about the end of March or beginning of March. And then after that, it's just been nothing but bull run consolidation, bull run consolidation, bull run. And now, obviously, we're expecting some more consolidation at some point up here. I drew this yesterday. This was in my Telegram group for all of you guys that want to know. I do most of my charting and analysis in my Telegram group now. It's just easier. That way, my dedicated followers have access to it directly on their phones. They can get notifications and stuff for it. That way, you don't have to mess around with Twitter and all that stuff. If you want the link to that, it's down in the description below. But I released this chart yesterday, and I have these three levels here. They're a little bit more important on the daily and the 4-hour chart, but these are the first three levels that I'm looking at as minor support in terms of a retracement. And I'll get into that in just a second. But for all of you guys that are new to the channel, make sure that you smash the like and subscribe button. I've gone over a lot of these levels, what they mean, why they're there. All of these are labeled. They're pretty much self-explanatory. 2020 low, range low. This was our previous range low, so I actually need to change the text on that. This is potentially our new range low. We don't know yet because we haven't obviously retraced yet, so we don't know where the new low is going to be. But this is our 2019 yearly high, and currently our 2020 yearly high is up here at 18,500. 2019 yearly high was 13,900. So you've got that $5,000 range in here. So what I'm suspecting is that on these higher time frames, once we do end up seeing some kind of a retrace or correction, depending on where we really stand here, I'm suspecting that either our 2019 yearly high will be our new bottom, or our old previous range high will be our bottom. If we come down to a daily chart here, you can see where these minor supports really are. I basically just drew a couple little support lines here, and these are all of our little minor supports. These are our little stepping stairs until Bitcoin really, finds a floor. Hopefully our floor is somewhere in here. But if it's not, then, we could be going as deep as 12K or lower. I think that if we go any lower than 12.5 upon some major correction, we stand a really good chance of seeing back down into like the $9,000-$10,000 level. I don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon. It could happen over the span of next year once we finally do get a confirmed top and we do start reversing. But until that moment happens, it's kind of too hard to tell right now, like where the floor is going to be. There's a little too much going on now. There's a bull side of things and a bear side of things here, and I want to explain both real quickly. The bearish side of things is this is the highest that Bitcoin has been in 3-4 years. That's number one. Number two is this is the longest that we've been in overbought territory for Bitcoin. Normally, it's not a good thing. Now, I know that everyone says, oh, RSI is it's a meme at this point. Bitcoin doesn't care if it's overbought. And that's absolutely true. I mean, look at the RSI. It doesn't care that it's overbought. It's been there for 28 days. Totally fine. We keep going up. Everybody that's shorting, everyone that has been shorting this all the way up for whatever reason has been getting absolutely wrecked. And, our ATR down here is off the freaking charts. We haven't seen the average true range this high since way back here when we had this massive drop at the beginning of the year. That's the highest that the volatility has been. These are the factors that I'm looking at in terms of the the bearish case here in terms of indicators. We're getting really, really toppy. When this daily candle closed here yesterday, this is kind of a sign to me that maybe the bulls are starting to get exhausted. That's a pretty big doji, and well, not even necessarily a doji, but more of like a spinning top. And that's normally when you see that at the top of a, parabolic move like this that we've seen, normally that's a signal that the top is about to be in. So I've been trading for about 7 or 8 years now. That's held true probably 85 to 90% of the time. Is when you see that at the top of a parabolic move, it's time to start exiting. So am I personally in a short right now? Yes, I am. Am I underwater? You bet your ass I am. And not very much. I think it's maybe underwater a couple $100 or something. It's not that big of a deal, but I'm laddering my shorts in. And I mentioned in my Telegram group that if you are going to be doing that, make sure you're doing it with a small amount of your portfolio. Make sure that you're laddering those entries. Make sure that you have a tight stop on it. Because at the end of the day, trading against the trend is not normally a recommended thing to do. If you're a newer trader, I don't recommend doing that. If you're not in a long or a short position right now, just stay flat for the time being until we get like a really decisive answer as to if we're going to be continuing to go up and test $20,000, which from here is extremely possible. That's only $2,500. That's a very, very possible move for Bitcoin to make right now, considering that from September 5th to now, in basically 60 days, we've doubled the price of Bitcoin. It's pretty crazy, this move that we've seen. This is awesome. Just this entire year, as you can see back from March, the entire year has just been amazing. Anyway, guys, that is pretty much all I have for you today. Like I mentioned, make sure that you check out all those links in the description below for Trading Light and High Block Capital and my Telegram group, all that good stuff. Pretty soon, I am going to start doing live scalping sessions in Edge Capital. So that's a group, trading group. I believe Crypto Tony is also in there as well. Joachim is in there. There's a lot of really good traders in there, and I'm going to be doing live scalping sessions in there with a separate account, probably something small, maybe like a $250 or $500 account or something. And I'm going to be doing that live so that you guys can see the strategies that I use, how I enter trades, why I enter them, why I'm saying my stop loss is there, the confirmation strategies that I use to be opening positions on small time frames, which is not something that I normally do very often. I used to scalp a lot and I didn't really have the time for that anymore, but I really wanted to get back into scalping because that's one of the biggest questions that I always get from you guys is, can you do a tutorial on scalping? Show us your scalping strategy. Show us this, show us. For newer traders, I gotta tell you, it's not a really smart thing to be trading on minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute, whatever. Anything below an hour, if you're trading on those minute time frames, risky. I understand you guys are impatient. You guys want to make money. You guys don't want to miss out on opportunities. And when you're on smaller time frames with more candles, there tends to be more opportunities. The owner of the group, his name is Richard. He is the CEO of Edge Capital Incorporated. So make sure that you reach out to him or just go to edge.org if you want to find out more information about how much their services are, what they offer, and all of that good stuff. So make sure you check those guys out. And until next time, guys, happy trading.